back, guys, to another test review here at Harley-Davidson Shores. It is December, it's pretty cold, but today I'll be doing a test review on this, the 2018 Harley-Davidson 107 Heritage. So cards on the table at this point. When I first saw the 2018 range, and actually previous to that, the 2017, for me this is not the type of bike that I would go for, purely based on the aesthetics look more than anything else. But actually over the last couple of months I've been hearing lots of really good feedback about this bike in particular, the way it's handling, its performance, the comparison between this and the 2017. Lots of people are raving about it. From a style perspective, what I am liking on the 2018 is the front end and the way it looks. It's a lot more, well, it's dark custom compared to chromosexual, if you like. That is what I'm into, and that is the dark custom side. That's what I mean I'm into. And I think the styling in general, it's just more modernized. And it's things like, when I look at the saddlebags on the 2018, you've got that hardened leather, and I think if you look at the 2017 and before, there's more of a sag in the bags. I think that's the best way I can describe it. From a weight comparison perspective, you've got between 32 pounds between the 2018 and 2017, which is a lot of weight that they've trimmed off in the range. Also then you've got the monoshock suspension on the 2018, which from my perspective is a lot better. So you've got some nice little features on the 2018, such as the USB port here, so you can plug in your phones, get them charged up, or your sat-navs. Also as well at the front you've got the detachable windshield, which is a nice feature. And then if we look at the lights, you've got those great LED lights then, so helping you see further better. So if we look at the saddlebags, open it up. So again, you can see it's a lot firmer, hardened plastic on the inside, leather on the outside. That is not going to bend. That is a pretty solid bit of kit there. I guess from a capacity perspective, you're looking at a couple of laptops, change of clothes, your toothbrush. You know, there's a good few things you can fit into that side for those touring experiences. So let's do the sound test on this Milwaukee engine and see what she sounds like. Just to reiterate, this is a stock pipe, so don't expect too much. Let's give it a bit of a rev. She's got a decent tone to her, but from my perspective, what I would be doing, especially with this style of bike, I think you should put a set of Vance & Hines long shots on, or something with, you know, a long tailpipe, and I'd perhaps go to a black colour, which would set the other matte black off very nice indeed. So sitting on the bike, first thing I'm noticing is the weight. This thing feels pretty light, to be fair. Looking down below, you've obviously got the side stand, and you're noticing it again, very easy to connect to and easy to pull up as well. And then popping it out again with the heel, bosh. Yeah, that's neat, very neat. And actually standing it up, it's more in a upright position compared to the 2017 model. Looking at the footboards, that looks like it's set more with a forward control. Feels very comfy. I feel that the brake lever could be a bit higher, if I'm honest, because my top of my boot is connecting with that and I can't fit it underneath. Then in front of me then I've got these nice set of 8 bars. For me it's just below my shoulder line, but I know from experience this is going to be very comfy. Can't see myself getting any aches or pains on the upper back. Then in the front then you've got a clear windshield. I'm pretty much used to windshields now. I can really see the benefits of having them, so I'm looking forward to testing that out today. Wing mirrors themselves, which is good. I can completely see behind me. Don't have to do any chicken arms. Bark, bark. Then in terms of the controls, as with all Harley-Davidsons, they're pretty much the same, very simplistic. That's why I really like them, because anyone can pretty much jump on this bike and get going. On the left hand side we've got the horn, headlights, low beam, high beam, the toggle button. So if we go to the toggle button here, we can see the functionality of the digital dash. So you've got your RPM, miles covered, trip A, trip B, and your reserve tank. So it's a really nice looking display. What I do like is the fuel gauge is very clear to see. That is a neater one compared to the 2017. The digital dash I like as well. It's keeping that old style heritage look about it, so it's still connecting to the previous models, just with some little tweaks here and there. Going back to the controls then, you've got cruise control. Nice little feature on these bikes, definitely something you want with this type of touring model in mind. And then you've got left indicator, and then on the right hand side you've got engine, stop start, hazards, and then right indicator. The indicators themselves are self-cancelling. Coming down then with a fuel tank, this is a 5-gallon fuel tank, so that's 22 litres, so that is perfect or ideal ideal, I should say, for your long touring rides. So let's get cracking with this test review. Just need to point out, as with all my other test reviews, I always state that I'm not an expert, clearly, but this is what I do enjoy, taking these bikes out and just communicating what they feel and handle like to you guys. What we're going to do today is go on the Moto New Brider test track. We're going to be testing its handling, its performance, all those good things, and I'm going to communicate those back to you. Let's get cracking. Ooh, she's peppy. Straight off the bat, this thing has got a bit of gun about her. I don't think I stated as well, just so you know, I'm 5'9", 70 kilogram. After the weekend, I've had probably about 73, and my star sign is Aquarius, so hopefully that's enough info for you regarding this bike. So I'm about 2 minutes into the test ride. So how does it feel? Ergonomics wise, I'm in an upright position. It is super comfy. This seat just feels like I'm sitting on a giant pillow, to be fair. There's a nice little lumbar support in it as well, which means I can kind of slouch back. What I also like as well are these 8 bars. It's just so easy to steer. Just do a bit of filtering, and I don't feel I'm on a big bike at all. She doesn't feel lumbersome or clumsy. Doing filtering such as this, it feels agile. The forward controls feel really good. So first part of the test is maneuverability. So let's get around this roundabout and see how she feels. This is where I can really test the rake, the lean angle, the clearance, because last year's model used to scrape the boards. Honestly guys, I am proper leaning into this. Very nimble. This thing, you can really flick it about. You know, I think one of the things you've got to get your head around is the styling, because typically this is aimed at a certain demographic. It has got that 1950s nostalgia, and I'll always say it's not my tipple, but the functionality of this thing so far, she's performing well. Okay, we're coming into a national speed limit, so that's 60 miles an hour on the A roads. What I want to do is just test how nippy she is. So in at 20 miles an hour, second gear, nothing behind me. Let's go. Woo! I mean, fair enough, this thing does actually shift, guys. I know with the 114 model, you're looking at 85 brake horsepower. You know, that is the same as the Dyno Lowrider S, so you know that these things can go. Although this is a 107, but it still feels nippy. Coming into a 30, let's test these brakes. Nothing behind me. Yeah, the brakes all right. I just feel, as with most of the Harleys of this type of body weight, they just need to have twin disc at the front, and Brembos would be nice. From a seat height position, I know the seat is around 26.4.5 inches, so that's going to suit all types of rider. Like I said, I'm 5'9", my feet easily touch the floor with a bend in my knee as well, so those shorties, this bike will suit you. So one of the things I love to test on these bikes is at the national speed limit, because it's a tourer, does it have any vibrations coming through the handlebars, etc. Because if you're riding for a long period of time, then this is one of the things that could affect you. But what I can tell you straight away is that there is minimal, if not any, vibration coming through. And again, because the ergonomics of the bike, the positioning that your body's in, the support from the lumbar back, it's just super comfy, guys. There's no other way I can describe it better. Now coming up to one of our suspension tests of the railway line. So let's give it a little bit of throttle. Yeah, haven't snapped my spine. That is great. I mean, the monoshock is fantastic. I've tried a couple of the different ranges and the Softail, and they're all really, really good. I actually rate the Showa suspension. It's pretty good. Now going into my next part of the test, which is the tight maneuvers. This is equivalent to that real urban environment, guys. Now, one thing I've got to be careful of, it is winter time, so I've got to bear that in mind of the roads. But I can tell you pretty much straight away, I'm quite confident on this bike. It feels very strong in terms of its responsiveness. The tyres don't feel light on the ground, that they're losing traction. Yeah, it's just a real positive experience for me. I think again, Harley have done well managing the rake and the trail. That's clearly had an added effect on this bike versus the 2017. And then going down the gears, it's very easy. The gearbox just seems extremely positive. I'm sure it may have the common issue of trying to find neutral, but this is great. So coming into the first tight left, just dropping it down the gears, nice and easy, letting that clutch out, coming round this turn into a horse. Always respect the horses and the riders. Wait till she's out of the way, and off we go with the review. It's really funny because my opinion before I got on this bike, I was almost thinking, do you know what, it's going to be a bit of a slug, but it's really impressed me. So coming into the chicane, right, then sharp left. So lean to the right, no scraping, lean to the left. easy out of that. So we'll be coming into her main territory now, which is the open A roads. So this is where I can really test out the touring capability on the dual carriageways. Let's get her open. Here we go. Oh! Coming up to a big roundabout. Again, let's test the lean angle. Let's test how that rake performs. Call this the second opinion, actually. See, the big difference that I find is that when I test rode the Road King, the front end wanted to dip in all the time. With this, completely the opposite. Just goes where I lead it. Let's overtake. Gosh, and this is a 107. I can only imagine what the 114 feels like on this bike. And that windshield is performing so well. I'm now actually getting a little bit of buffering on my helmet, to be fair. Just felt that kick in. But overall, it just feels great. And again, I'm currently just above 60, and I'm trying to feel for those vibrations. And I can confidently say there is absolutely nothing. This thing is just not going to fatigue you out on a long touring range. You know, and with that tank, that 5-gallon tank, you've got about 233 miles there. One thing I noticed as well, and I just thought about this when I test rode the V-Rod. When I was at high speed, the way my feet were positioned like so, I was getting dragged back from the wind. But with this, it's great. You're not getting, or you don't feel like your trouser legs are going to turn into sails. That is the test review done for me. Felt I've tested it quite extensively. We did the urban side, we did the tight manoeuvrability, took it over the A road. So I think I've got a good understanding of the pros and cons of this bike. So first things first, let's talk about the positives. So for me, that engine, that 107, I must admit, I'm a bit surprised. It's really good, really peppy, takes off like a rocket. I'm almost intrigued to jump on the 114 to feel what that's like, because I know that's going to kick out 85 brake horsepower. So again, that should be even better experience. I think the most important thing about this bike is the ergonomics and how it feels over a touring distance. That's what it's meant to be about, and it nails it on the head. As I mentioned, the ergonomic setup with the way your body's positioning, coupled with the seat comfort, the lumbar support, the footboards as well, it's really, really good. Really like it. I know over a long distance you are still going to be comfy, especially if you're in windy conditions and you've got this windshield. That's just going to give you that added further protection. I think as well, coupled with the 8 bars, I love 8 bars now. I'm sold on them. So again, it's another big benefit. The one thing that we didn't test out today is the cruise control here, but I've tested it on my bike, and that's obviously a really good factor in terms of that touring capability. It's just the list goes on here, guys. I think the suspension is fantastic. I really like the Showa suspension. The monoshock's great. It's adjustable. Maneuverability of this thing is fantastic. I think I've shown that in terms of the urban riding around places like this. You can really flick it about. I actually like the colour scheme on this bike. I love the matte black. I think it gives it a really nice touch. I think from a safety perspective, now you've got the LEDs at the front. There is loads of lights on the front here, so being visible is not going to be a problem. Then moving into the gearbox, it's like butter. I haven't really had any issues trying to engage neutral, but I'm sure with most Harleys, and this one will fall into the category, neutral may be sometimes a bit of a challenge. What are the negatives or the constructive criticisms I should address? And for me, the big one is going to be styling. It's not my cup of tea. Doesn't mean that it's not great. The heritage look and design is going to suit a specific demographic. I think the other thing as well is that this comes in at a whopping £17,995, which is a big splurge, and I believe for the 114 you're looking at 20 then. Something else that I've noticed on this bike is that when you're trying to obviously look at what speed you're doing, you've got to take your eyes off the road. So that is definitely one of the other negatives I think of this bike. The only other thing that I would need to change on this bike is definitely the pizza box at the back. So where the number plate is, I'd need to have some type of side plate on that. Otherwise, I think it just looks a little bit horrific for the European market. If you're new to the channel, ensure that you subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. But apart from staying safe, make sure you guys have a really good Christmas. Enjoy it with your family. Take care and all the best. Moto New Brider.